Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. This is for October the 3rd. Like, wow, how did we get here so fast? I am recording this on Sunday, so some stuff hasn't happened yet that should, like Trump's trial in New York is supposed to start tomorrow, yesterday, on Monday. Um, that was after that partial summary judgment or whatever it was called, where he basically said, yeah, you know what, you guys committed a whole lot of fraud and we're revoking your licenses and like that. So this one I think is primarily about damages, but I might not be totally clear on that. On Tuesday, Trump is supposed to be deposed um, in the in the lawsuit where he is suing Michael Cohen for 500 billion with a B dollars for some ridiculous reason. But he's supposed to be deposed on uh, Tuesday. Now, I'm pretty sure that ain't going to happen. One, he's going to use the whole thing in New York. But more than that, I mean, think about this. He started the lawsuit. He's the plaintiff. And the defense has to and this is not the second time, this is not the first time he will have pushed it off further down the road. I mean, the defendant should not have to pursue the plaintiff to get a deposition, but apparently that's what's going on there. So, needless to say, as a result, I want to take a look at October, but I am getting some sort of just channeled messages here. So, I think maybe we're gonna. They're talking. We'll just start with some of this stuff. So, first of all, they're talking about Kevin McCarthy. So we know that the shutdown was averted literally with, I think, less than an hour to spare. It was 2 hours something. It was pretty tight. A lot of us said it's either going to go to the wire or it will be very short. So yay for all of us readers who got that one. But so now what that has done, and the only way that got through the House was because Democrats voted with the Republicans who still have a brain cell left in their head. So, what that, of course, has triggered is Matt Gaetz trying to, now he's going to, proceed with all haste to get Kevin McCarthy sort of kicked out of the speakership, right? Leader of the House deal. So, what they're telling me is that this, there is some talk about how he wants to be Gates, how he wants to take over as Speaker of the House. Okay, so first of all, that is a fantasy land, and I don't know, someplace where the sky is magenta. Okay, because there aren't that many people, even in the Republican Party, who think that him taking over is actually a good idea. It probably works out to, I don't know, 50 or so. So that could support that. But I don't think that's what's going on. I'm being told that this has a lot more to do with his sort of plan to push himself forward as the next governor of Florida. The reason he wants to do that is because, and the reason he is being so loyal to Trump is because that he believes if he stays loyal to Trump and continues to carry water and do his bidding and etc., when he runs for governor, he is going to get Trump support. He's going to get the people who support Trump to support him. The problem is that he has attached himself to a burning wagon. Okay. And so by the time he gets to that governorship race, what's going to happen is a lot of people, not the crazy magas, but a lot of people are going to really by then have come to some conclusions about Trump and about the way he conducted himself in the office, the way he conducts himself as a businessman, et cetera, et cetera. And so what Matt Gaetz is going to find is that the support that he's looking for has actually dwindled down to only those who are continue to be, steadfast Trump loyalists. But everybody else is going to shun him. They're going to turn away from him. That's what they're showing me. So there's that. I am being told, and this is all I'm going to say about it, but I am being told that Dianne Feinstein has transitioned and she's at peace. That's it. I don't go any further. Her passing is so recent. And besides, I leave that kind of transition stuff to Cash Peters, who does an amazing job of it. Actually, I have something else I want to talk to you about before I continue mentor channeling or doing the cards. A lot of us have been shaking our head, like literally for like 6 years, shaking our heads and going, how does he get away with this? Like, he spews such garbage and they just believe him and nobody checks anything he says. It's like it's gospel if it comes out of Trump's mouth. I was watching Aquarian Diary. Just Google it on YouTube, Aquarian Diary. It's hosted by a guy named John Irving. Now, a little while ago, John and I, there was a video released that just happened to have come from a private conversation John and I were having where we were talking about the dimensions. So you might be familiar with him. In any case, I was watching his latest video called, I think, Pluto and Capricorn, and he was talking about the fact that 50% of Americans have a literacy rate below grade 6. Think about what that means. That means that they don't have the reading skills, and I would go so far as to say the building blocks, like the logic, right? Where I know there's a word for it, I just don't know what it is in this flash of moment. But that they don't have kind of the steps in order to look at something from an analytical point of view and say that just doesn't make sense, or that's not that doesn't jive with what I know, because they're simply just undereducated. They're not dumb, they're not stupid, they're not any of that. They're just undereducated. And that goes back to, the cuts, et cetera, that have been made in the education system in the United States. And really, it's been sort of shredded and picked apart wherever, like throughout the country, but certainly in the southern states, there's definitely kind of an issue there. And so he was explaining how that kind of all makes sense and it all comes together, and it explains kind of why some of these people are just blindly following. They just, whatever he says, they just believe it. Okay, so Aquarian Diary, John Irving, Pluto in Capricorn. Check it out if you're so inspired. He's an astrologer, but he has a nice bend on things. His bend is a little bit more cosmic or broader. Okay. Spirit, what else do we want to know? Okay, thank you. Biden is going to continue to make headway in October. So one of the things that it looks like the Democrats are going to figure out is, for example, there recently was I think an advertising ad for Biden that went out, and it was talking about all the jobs that he has created and how pro-union he is, right? But just a few days before, I saw stats of the number of union jobs that have been created since Biden took office versus, Trump, Obama, Bush, etc. He's way and above all of them. And so at some point, I think that the Democrats are going to need to start incorporating those kinds of statistics into these commercials. Because honestly, we've kind of got numb, right? And so Donald Trump says way more than anybody else. And we just don't hear it, even when it comes from somebody else. So there's a need for him to sort of back up some of the stuff he and frankly other Democrats are saying as they move forward towards this 2024 election. So they should start incorporating some of those numbers and stats. Looks like Mitch McConnell may have another sort of health episode, sometimes in October. So later in October, I'm not sure, the 23rd, 24th, somewhere around there, is when the speedy trial starts for Howell and the other guy, Cheeseborough, who wanted a speedy trial. That apparently was supposed to start in the month of October. I think it's around the 23rd. So by the time you're seeing this video, we will have already heard about one day or day one in the Tish James case, because that is supposed to start on Monday morning. So that's going to be interesting. So overall, the month of October looks, what's the energy? Show me the energy for the entire month of October over the USA. What's that about? What is that looking like? Um, Trump is going to receive, I think not only Trump Corp, Trump family, but Trump himself are going to continue to receive really unfavorable reactions from the courts. Okay. Now, as I'm recording this, Judge Chutkan has not yet um, made a ruling on the narrow gag order that Jack Smith is requesting. I'm being told that she's going to be able to put some of it or a portion of it into place. Okay. I said this a long time ago when it came to her, that I thought that one of the things that she was going to do was she was going to start hitting him with fines, because money talks to Trump. And I would not be surprised if she starts, like, literally issuing something like, everything you post that is against, the judiciary, the jury, you're poisoning the jury pool, $50,000. $50,000, $50,000, and before you know it, in the course of a day, because he's nuts, he could wrap up $400,000 in fines. I think that may be a part of what she does, because that seems to be one of the only things that gets him to comply, is when he's hit in his pocketbook. They're also telling me that his pocketbook is nowhere near as flush as he almost as he believes it is, because of course he makes everything up, right? So yesterday Mar-a-Lago was worth $35 million. Well, by next Tuesday, it's going to be worth 65 million and then 125 million. And that's how he sort of in his head keeps the idea that he's wealthy, right? That he just keeps on, he is so successful because he shifts the numbers all the time, right? So if I have $600 in my checking account, but I tell myself I have 6,000, I'm going to be in a very different headspace about my own financial security, right? That's sort of the game he plays with himself. But he's going to continue to get uh, court court rulings that he's not going to like, and the reason Chutkin's thing may be effective is because he's actually going to start to twig into the fact that he doesn't have the money to pay for all of these fines. Okay. There was one where he was refusing to turn something over that he was supposed to turn over, and the judge charged him $100,000 a day for every day he didn't turn them over. It took 4 days, and he handed the stuff over. Anything else? Okay, and this is sort of interesting. They're saying that there has been a lot of talk and concern and worry and anxiety um, being manufactured out of the Republican slash Trump party. And that energy about Biden and how healthy he is or isn't can even make it to the election, never mind do the full, the 4-year term. Spirit is saying that we need to be really mindful, one, to not let the anxiety get to us, but two, that we continue to spend healing and white light his way. Sorry, excuse me, because energy is energy, right? And we need to start combating that noise because it's not accurate. Um, and this nonsense about Trump of all people talking about how Biden's old and his cognitive abilities are impaired. Trump, who thinks, uh, Biden's going to lead us into World War II, and that Obama was the president he defeated in his election. Okay. All right. Let's sort of get down to brass tacks here and see what Spirit can tell us about October. Hang on 1 second, please. Sorry about that. Tickle in my throat. So let's take a look at the United States for the month of October. Oh, by the way, hey, I made it to 10,500 subscribers. Thank you, each and every one of you who subscribed. I'm so grateful. So thank you for that. And I completely lost my train of thought. It'll come back in a second. I hope. Oh, that was it. Every once in a while, um, somebody will come along and in the comment section they'll say, "Hey, X time ago you said this was going to happen, and look, it just happened." I always am so grateful for those kinds of messages because once I say goodbye, I pretty much forget everything I said. When I say hello again, some of it'll filter back, not all of it. So when I get a hit or a win, I'm so grateful when somebody says you did it. Because it's not something that I tend to kind of keep track of because I tend not to remember what I'm supposed to be keeping track of. So thank you for that. Okay, here we go. October, USA. General and overriding energies. There we go. October US 23, October US 23, October US 23. Okay. Overall, they're starting with the world, okay? So overall, the energy of the United States, the country, I'll get to Trump in a second, feels as if it is moving forward. It is moving on. Some things have been dealt with, and there's forward momentum into a new way. Um, This might have something to do with that spending bill, and that apparently needs to get revisited by, I think it's just before U.S. Thanksgiving. But it feels like there's some fresh beginnings or some new beginnings. It also feels like that House Judiciary Committee who were trying to find evil doing with Joe Biden through his son. What's happening is you're going to see that they continue to get knocked flat on their butt by the Dems, who just are taking infinite joy in shredding them and correcting them and saying, he said that it was absolutely wrong. Did you see AOC was doing one where she was talking about a text that had been manipulated to say something? She put up the entire text. And what the Republican was trying to say or said was completely misconstrued, taken out of context, etc. He sort of lifted up two or three sentences. And he just stood there and he didn't even have the grace to look slightly embarrassed, right? He was like, so what? Whatever. Yeah. So there's that. So it feels like the Democrats are going to start to pick up more momentum. In some ways, it feels as if there's going to be more information coming out that reflects well on the Dems, not so well on the Republicans. Certainly averting this, um, even averting this shutdown. Who was it that saved Kevin's butt? It was the Democrats. Um, there's going to continue to be more information coming out on the Supreme Court, on ethics issues within the Supreme Court. I guess there's a couple of cases coming up where there are strong requests that certain judges recuse themselves from a specific trial because they're buddy with, you know, the guy who owns the company, et cetera, et cetera. So there's going to continue to be more and more like deep dives, okay? For some reason, the United States in this month is working to find sort of like a sense of equilibrium, just sort of it just really feels like um, they're going to try to get things back on a bit of an even keel. It's interesting because of the crazy that is going on with Trump and his case and the other one in Fulton County. I'm not seeing any violence here over the course of sort of the month of October, which is sort of interesting. So again, there's going to continue to be investigations. There's going to be some good news coming out of that. And I don't know if they're actually going to be able to get judges to recuse. I know that, the Dems keep putting up like sort of, they're trying to pass some ethics rules. That, of course, is not going to happen with the Republicans in the House. But there's going to be more and more information that comes out in that way. So that's a good thing. Now, as for Trump, we have the judgment card, the eight, the swords, and the nine of wands. Okay. So there's going to be judgments coming against him. He's going to feel trapped. Um, he's going to be battered, right? And like I say, when I look at his energy for the month, it's very like it's like one hit after another, one hit after another, okay? But he hasn't yet been hit in a way that will completely debilitate him. But I do believe that that's coming. So, um, there's going to be other agencies, I guess secretaries of states, other organizations that are going to continue to push for this 14th Amendment to be utilized on ballots and not let Trump's name be put on the ballot because It's important. I mean, I don't know when it gets to the Supreme Court if it's going to carry a lot of weight or not, whether the court will side with them or not. Um, Most of us can't understand why they wouldn't, but there's going to continue to be challenges about to him, whether it is the 14th Amendment, whether it is getting sued, whether it is, rulings that are like really not what he was hoping for, whatever it is, things are going to kind of continue to be a little kind of wonky with him. Okay. And I guess this is sort of looks like a final note on Trump. Um, Knight of Wands. He is going to, as he deals with the court, he is going to continue to try to play the I'm a victim. He's going to do the charging ahead without thinking of consequences when he speaks. But he's going to discover that he is not in control of the pony. She is. And she, in this case, is Letitia James and Judge Shutkins. Okay? They're the ones with the authority. Beyond that, the judge in New York who is looking over this whole business thing, he's like done with Trump, right? He told him he was living in a fantasy land. Ultimately, the things that are good, the things that are going good, the things that are gaining momentum, those are going to be the one that is going to be what you're going to see starting to really pick up speed and gain momentum. And really getting the beast, if you will, of misinformation and anger, it's going to start slowly try to bring it under control. And so that's kind of what I'm seeing. There's also something that's going to happen that's going to create a sense of disappointment initially. And this is not a sort of typical reading of this card, but there's a focus on this, and people in the immediate sort of reaction to whatever this is are neglecting to look at the rainbow. So there's a rainbow coming for something that initially was perceived as bad news or frankly not in favor of the US. Okay, there we go. I'm going to be recording a mini for Wednesday. It's going to be like looking at Trump from 30,000 feet. We all know what he's doing on the ground. I want to take, I want to go up and sort of look at an overview of what role he plays, how the things are likely to unfold for him. Um, but from the perspective of, karma, of, paths that he is creating for himself to walk on, that kind of thing. So that's coming up tomorrow. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to hit on the mini for the next day, but I'll get to it. So, anyways, thank you very, very, very much for being here. I really love the new subscribers. Thank you for the comments and the thumbs up. It's all wonderful. Take good care of yourself, and I'll see you really soon. Bye bye. Be well.